So let's practice expressing where we went, what we bought, and what things were made of. Español 2, Unidad 3. Fui a, compré, de. Take notes as we go along. Helps you with memorizing vocabulary. There's been a lot of studies that prove that there's a hand-to-brain connection, that when you're writing, sticks better up here. Practice speaking. Repeat after me. Answer the questions as we go along. Pause as you need. Okay, we're focusing on the preterite. The preterite is a past tense. So Spanish 1, we learned the present tense. I go, I'm going. Yo voy. Earlier in Spanish 2, we learned the imperfect. I used to go, I was going. Yo iba. The imperfect is what we used to do, what was going on, no specific starter and moment. The preterite is what we're learning now. So it has a specific definite or specific start and ending, and it's in the past. Examples: yesterday, last night, last week, last month, 2 minutes ago, 2 years ago. Specifically a time in the past. So, ¿a dónde fuiste? To where did you go? Yo fui a. So, you can patty cake it. Ir, to go. Yo, fui. Tú, fuiste. Usted, fue. Él, fue. Ella, fue. Nosotros, fuimos. Vosotros, fuisteis. Ustedes, fueron. Ellos, fueron. Ellas, fueron. Feel free to pause this. Feel free to replay this. Practice patty caking along. You know I've boxed. Yo, fui. Tú, fuiste. Usted fue. Él fue. Ella fue. Nosotros, fuimos. Vosotros, fuisteis. Ustedes fueron. Ellos fueron. Ellas fueron. You gotta learn them. Try rolling dice. Uno for yo. Dos for tú. Jaja. Tres, usted, el, ella. 4, nosotros. 5, vosotros. 6, ustedes, ellas. You gotta learn them. Study them. Draw a chart. Make a picture. So, ¿a dónde fuiste? Where did you go? Yo fui a. I went to. So, repite, por favor. ¿A dónde fuiste? ¿Fuiste al centro comercial? Yo fui al centro comercial ayer. Try going a little faster. Yo fui al centro comercial ayer. Anoche. El mes pasado. El año pasado. Yo no fui al centro comercial. ¿A dónde fuiste? Yo fui a. ¿A dónde fuiste? Make sure you're practicing, you're repeating after me. Pause and take notes too. ¿Fuiste al kiosco? Kiosco. Kiosco. Yo fui al kiosco ayer. Fui al kiosco anoche. Fui al kiosco el mes pasado. Yo no fui al kiosco. If I'm not giving enough pause for you to repeat, go ahead and just hit the button to pause. ¿A dónde fuiste? ¿Fuiste a la zapatería? Fui a la zapatería. Ayer, anoche. If you're tired of these, you can say hace 2 semanas, 2 weeks ago. Hace un año, a year ago. No fui a la zapatería. You don't have to have the yo, I'm just putting it in there for clarity. ¿A dónde fuiste? ¿Fuiste a la tienda de ropa? Fui, I should have an a in there. Fui a la tienda de ropa. Fui a la tienda de ropa. Ayer, anoche, el mes pasado, el año pasado. You could say last week, la semana pasada. An hour ago, hace un año. 2 days ago, hace 2 días. No fui a la tienda de ropa. ¿A dónde fuiste? ¿Fuiste a la tienda de deportes? I should have an a in there again. I'll make sure I add those in the notes. ¿Fuiste a la tienda de deportes? Yo fui a la tienda de deportes. No fui a la tienda de deportes. Pause and try saying it. Fui a la tienda de deportes. No fui a la tienda de deportes. Again, I left out the ah. I'm going to have to make sure I put those in the notes. Make sure you have an ah here. ¿A dónde fuiste? ¿Fuiste a la joyería? Joyería. Joyería. Fui a la joyería. Ayer, anoche, el mes pasado, el año pasado. 3 months ago, hace 3 meses. 2 years ago, hace 2 años. No fui a la joyería. So what did you buy? Where did you go and what did you buy? Did you go to the clothing store? Yes, I went to the clothing store. What did you buy? I bought. Remember your clothing? Un abrigo. Un pijama. Una chaqueta. Un gorro. Nothing. No compré nada. So I'm going to ask you if you went to a clothing store. You're going to tell me you went to the clothing store. Just pretend. I'm going to ask you what you bought, and you're going to tell me you bought, and then pick one of those things. You can say, I didn't buy anything, but after a while, you need to start practicing the vocabulary, so consider it. I'm going to ask you, you're going to answer, sí, fui a la tienda de ropa. I'm going to ask you, and you're going to say, compré un abrigo, or compré un pijama, or compré una chaqueta, or compré un gorro. Ready? ¿Fuiste a la tienda de ropa? ¿Qué compraste? Now you practice asking me. Ask me this question here. Sí, fui a la tienda de ropa. Now ask me this. Oh, compré un pijama. Got the idea? I'm going to ask you if you went to the kiosk. You're going to tell me yes. I'm going to ask you what you bought, and you're going to tell me you bought something. Una gorra, unas gafas de sol, un reloj. Yes, you could say no compré nada. I didn't buy anything, but eventually you got to practice the vocabulary in the unit. So I'm going to ask you, ¿fuiste al kiosco? You tell me, sí, fui al kiosco. I'm going to ask you, ¿qué compraste? You're going to tell me, compré una gorra, or compré unas gafas de sol, or compré un reloj. Ready? ¿Fuiste al kiosco? ¿Qué compraste? Now your turn to ask me. Ask me, ¿fuiste al kiosco? Sí, fui al kiosco. Now ask me, ¿qué compraste? Compré unas gafas de sol. All right, again, I'm going to ask you if you went to the shoe store. You can say, yes, I went to the shoe store. I'm going to ask you what you bought. You could tell me zapatos, zapatillas, botas, tenis. ¿Fuiste a la zapatería? Sí, fui a la zapatería. ¿Qué compraste? Compré zapatillas, compré tenis, compré zapatos, compré botas. I know, you could say, I didn't buy anything. No compré nada. Again, practice the vocabulary. So I'm going to ask you, your turn to answer. ¿Fuiste a la zapatería? ¿Qué compraste? Now we're going to practice expressing what things are made of. I didn't know if you'd ever seen cotton before, so that is what cotton looks like. And let's just practice saying things. Repite, por favor. Yo compré una camiseta de algodón. Yo compré una camiseta de algodón. You can even say it without the yo. Compré una camiseta de algodón. I'm just putting the yo in there for emphasis. Yo compré una camisa de algodón. Compré una camisa de algodón. Yo compré una sudadera de algodón. Compré una sudadera de algodón. Notice it's I bought, then the name of the clothing, then de, and then the material. Now, if you want to add things in, kind of stretch this out a little more, barata, cara, cheap, expensive. Barata, cara, cheap, expensive. Barata, cara, cheap, expensive. Practice. Compré una camiseta barata de algodón. Compré una camisa cara de algodón. Compré una sudadera barata de algodón. All right, so now let's talk about synthetic fabrics. There's rayon, polyester, dacron, anything that's not a natural plant or animal. It's man-made. That's synthetic cloth. So tela sintética, synthetic word. Repite, por favor. ¿Qué compraste? Yo compré una corbata de tela sintética. Compré una corbata de tela sintética. Yo compré un impermeable de tela sintética. Compré un impermeable de tela sintética. Yo compré un traje de baño de tela sintética. Compré un traje de baño de tela sintética. Una corbata barata, a cheap tie. Una corbata cara, an expensive tie. Un impermeable barato, a cheap raincoat. Un impermeable caro, an expensive raincoat. Notice, una corbata barata. Una corbata cara. Un impermeable barato. Un impermeable caro. Compré un traje de baño barato de tela sintética. Compré un traje de baño caro de tela sintética. Subject, verb, the thing that was bought, then the adjective to describe it. Notice the adjective goes after the noun. Wool. Well, some people don't always know what wool is. Wool can come from sheep, llamas or alpacas, and goats. Yo compré un gorro de lana. ¿Qué compraste? Yo compré un suéter de lana. Yo compré una bufanda de lana. Compré un gorro barato de lana. Compré un gorro caro de lana. Compré una bufanda barata de lana. Compré una bufanda cara de lana. Please pay attention to the spelling of suéter. ¿Qué compraste? What did you buy? Yo compré unas botas de cuero. Did I add a picture in? No. Remember that leather comes from an animal. It's an animal skin. Many times we get our leather from cows and sometimes from horses, sometimes from other animals. Yo compré unas botas de cuero. Yo compré una chaqueta de cuero. Yo compré un bolso de cuero. ¿Qué compraste? I hope you're practicing repeating. Compré unas botas baratas de cuero. Compré unas botas caras de cuero. Notice they're unas botas, so it's baratas or caras. It's una chaqueta, so it's barata or cara. It's un bolso, so it's barato o caro. Una chaqueta barata. Una chaqueta cara. un bolso barato de cuero. Un bolso caro de cuero. Also, many of you were talking about gold and silver, so you can say it is a necklace of gold or it is a golden necklace. You can say it's a ring of silver or it's a silver ring. And then this is a bracelet that is gold and silver. Compré un collar de oro. Compré un collar dorado. Compré un anillo de plata. Compré un anillo plateado. Compré una pulsera de oro y de plata. ¿Qué compraste? You pause and try to say it. Compré un collar de oro. Compré un collar dorado. ¿Qué compraste? Compré un anillo de plata. Compré un anillo plateado. Compré una pulsera de oro y de plata. Alrighty, so we have now practiced expressing where we went, what we bought, and what it was made of. Good luck, study, practice, do your best. Buena suerte.